Everything's fake that we see, so just chill out and relax, because your life doesn't suck as much as you think it does, because we're constantly comparing ourselves to a highlight reel. Everyone's highlight reel. It's either the top 1% or less of their day, or it's completely made up. It's one of those two things, I guarantee it, for most of the content that you see online. So just chill out and give yourself a break. You're doing really well, all right? My name is Brian Panuzzo. I am a former bond trader turned executive health and performance coach. I help financial professionals build systems in their lives that they can finally live with for good. I know your world from the inside because I lived it for 20 years. Your career runs on systems. Your life outside the office should too. Welcome back to the show. This is the Success Lift podcast. I'm Brian. Welcome to April. I hope you're doing great. I've been talking a lot about a couple of different themes over the last month or two, both on this podcast, in my daily email, a lot of my free content, and especially with my clients. I've been really highlighting the importance of data with my clients. And we are big data collectors inside of this program that I run. We want to know what's going on. If we know what's going on, we can really start to get into the nitty-gritty of what you need to improve. And most importantly, the minimal effective dose that we need to take, because I know your life, as I say in the intro, oftentimes major overhauls are really hard to do. Could you imagine over the last month or two, inside of the geopolitical and financial market turmoil that we've had, trying to overhaul your life, trying to make huge changes? You can barely breathe some of these past several weeks. And so then taking on something inside of your personal life outside the office is basically just a non-starter for most of you. And so we look for these little upgrades, these compounding decisions that we can make, that we can put on autopilot over time and allow them to accrue, as we would say, and build momentum, right? But we don't know necessarily what they are unless we have data. And so we got to know our numbers. So I've been talking to clients more about knowing your numbers. I've also been talking about like what it really takes with a lot of my guys. And in this process of data collection and what it really takes, I've had a lot of conversations, mostly with clients, but also with some either friends or old colleagues or people who pay attention to me online, who listen to a podcast, who might have read a couple of my emails. And we've had some good back and forth banter, and it's got me thinking a little bit about this concept of data, okay, which I'll share my personal experience with, as well as my clients. And then also this sort of, the title of the show, the title of this episode, this concept of like the highlight reel in our lives. I've been talking a lot about how most things are fake that we see out there. Everything's fake that we see. So just chill out and relax, because your life doesn't suck as much as you think it does, because we're constantly comparing ourselves to a highlight reel. Everyone's highlight reel. It's either the top 1% or less of their day, or it's completely made up. It's one of those two things, I guarantee it, for most of the content that you see online. So just chill out and give yourself a break. You're doing really well, all right? This highlight reel concept versus the hidden reel. The hidden reel are the things we don't see. The things we don't see in people's lives when they're sharing them with us. But more importantly, as it pertains to this conversation, it's the things that are done on a daily basis, weekly basis, hourly basis, whatever it is, that we don't see, that create the real results in our lives. And that's why I started thinking about like highlight reel versus hidden reel. Obviously, there's a little bit of linguistic, flow between those two things. So that always works in a title. You got to make sure people see it, hear it, look at it and go, yeah, that's interesting. What's that all about? And so this conversation with you guys, because I'm sitting here by myself in my office, talking into a camera and a microphone. This conversation, I want to walk through a couple things about what does it actually take? What does it take in order for you to get great results? Before I do that, I want to talk quickly about this concept of just being afraid of information sometimes. And when I say that, like, I'm pretty sure, by the way, let me back up even a little bit more. All right. I have a feeling that most people will listen to this podcast and nod their head and think about somebody that they believe this is for, and like your buddy, like that, like, oh yeah, like this guy needs this. Like, I'm making this for you right now. I'm recording this podcast for you, not just the 2 or 3 people that come to the top of your mind while you listen to it, because you likely don't have all the results that you want. And again, remember, I am speaking from a place of not having all the results that I want either. So this is not a look at me, I have everything, I'm going to tell you what to do. Am I further along in some of these categories? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know everybody who listens to the podcast, so I'm not sure. Am I further along in some of them with my clients so that I can speak, confidently to, like, this is what I've experienced? Yeah. In some areas, yes. In other areas, no. And so I'll speak to my experience. I'll speak to the conversations I've had. I'll speak to the work that I've done with the hundreds of guys who have come through this program, and the 63 or 64 who are currently in it right now, right? So this conversation is for you. It's not just for the person who you are thinking of potentially who needs it, okay? We hide from numbers, especially when we don't like them. We hide from data. I've looked over here to my side a few times because I'm currently charging my ring, but this is an Oura ring. This is not just a wedding ring. It does sub as my wedding ring. I got it sized up so it fits on my wedding ring finger. I don't like to wear a lot of stuff on my wrists and my fingers, but I do wear my wedding ring. So right now the Oura ring is taking the place of my wedding ring because it looks exactly like it. But it also gives me data. So for you who are not familiar with some of these trackers, it's a sleep tracker, it's an activity tracker. It's going to track, like, heart rate variability and your resting heart rate, and it's going to show your body temperature. And they've become very, very popular in the fitness world. Whoop is another very popular one. Oura Ring is pretty big. And then you have kind of your standard, like Garmin and Fitbit, like activity trackers. Your Apple Watch can tell you some stuff. And these things, this data collection has become more popular with a lot of people, although I would argue that they're not doing enough with the right data. They're focused a bit too much on some things that don't matter as much for the goals that they have. But back to me and ignoring data. I've had an Oura Ring for many, many years. For about a 2-year, I just started wearing it about a month ago because I'm really focused on my sleep and my sleep quantity and my quality. It's very poor. Right, for the amount of work that I put into my overall health, my sleep is not great, like not even close to great. It's actually pretty piss poor, and I'm working on it. And I am seeing some improvements, and that's pretty encouraging. But what I did about a year and a half ago or so was I got rid of my Oura Ring. I stopped wearing it. You know why I stopped wearing it? Because I didn't like the data. I didn't like the information that Oura was sharing with me on a daily basis. I didn't like waking up and having the Oura Ring, the app, tell me how underprepared I was for the day. Now, there's a conversation to be had about, like, living by this data and allowing it to affect your state. A lot of times I got up and I was like, feel pretty good, ready to go to the gym, ready to get after it. And I would look at my Oura app and the app would tell me, like, you suck, Brian. Like, you're literally the worst sleeper ever. Like, you should just rest all day. And so that bothered me too. And so, but if I'm really being honest, like, I just got tired of seeing negative information and not being able to fix it and not doing the things necessary to fix it, because I really didn't when it comes down to it. And that's what this is about. This is about us getting information, having access to it, because we have access to unlimited amounts of data, right? We have it at work. We can access it in our personal life, right? And me not wanting to make the changes in order to start to see some of the improvements that I desired. And so I desired the result, but I wasn't willing to do the things that were necessary. Okay? And I want you to visualize somebody for me. There's definitely somebody at your company. There might not be a lot. Here's the thing. But there's that one guy, maybe it's a woman. There's that one person that has a great job, is making a ton of dough, is probably more senior than you or just as, okay? He or she may look 10 years younger than you do right now, and you guys are about the same age. She looks younger than everybody else, clearly more fit, sharp as hell, like leads meetings, commands attention when they come in the room. People take notice when they move around the floor. All right. What you know of, because we don't always know, but what you know of, their marriage is super solid to their partner. All right. They're connected. Their partner is at different, company events. They look like they have a great relationship. You're pretty sure that, and I say all these things caveat because we just don't know. We don't know. Maybe you do actually know that they have a great marriage. Okay. Their kids are thriving. Their kids actually want to be around them. They look like a very committed parent, right? Their body looks, quite frankly, pretty elite, at least as best as you can tell in their business outfits, right? It looks like they have a personal trainer on retainer, maybe. They know what they're doing. It's very clear to you, at least the perception, because we don't always know. There's the highlight reel and the hidden reel, but we don't always know. But it's perceived that they got this figured out. I would like you to stop and ask yourself, what do you think their morning looked like this morning? What do you think their evening routine was last night? What do you think they did on the weekend, over this past weekend? Because it's the things that people are doing in these small bunches during their day that usually become the fruit that we all see. So it's the hidden actions underneath the surface that don't get posted online. I mean, I'm a pretty active poster of stuff. If you follow me on Instagram, I use my Instagram stories to show you sort of behind the scenes of my everyday life, most days. On LinkedIn, I post a lot of content that's relevant for financial professionals, busy executives. But I'm not showing you every part of my day. I'm not showing you the behind the scenes of when I wake up and what I'm doing for my first hour and a half. I might snap a picture that I'm at the gym at 6:45 on a Sunday morning, but I was up at 5 doing some work. Now, this does not mean that if you don't wake up at 5 on Sunday, you're not successful. You can sleep later than that. Absolutely. This is about understanding that there are so many unseen moments in a very successful person's day, right? And so you have to start to think about, like, what does it take? What does it take to get the results that you want? So for somebody who wants a significantly improved body composition, you want to lose body fat, you want to put on lean muscle tissue, you want to take your shirt off at the country club this summer. I mean, guys, it's April. It's early April. If you are not getting ready for the summer right now, what are we doing? You're in serious trouble. Serious trouble. Just realized at the time of this recording dropping, it's probably like the last day or so of March. Oh well. Same. It takes months to be ready. You can't just decide 2 weeks before you go on a vacation that you want to drop 10 pounds. What do you think that person that you admire in the office is doing on a regular basis? What do you think they're doing for the first 60 minutes of their day? What do you think their Sunday looks like? Prepping for the week. What do you think they said no to that you have no idea? How do you think they protect their time on their calendar? Do you think they say yes to everything that comes up, every drink that pops up, every opportunity to step into an environment that's not ideal for their overall mental and physical performance? When they do, what do you think that their guardrails look like? The parameters that they put around what they're willing to do. When we're dating our wives, when we're dating our partners, We put in this level of effort to make them know that we care a lot about them. We want to court them. We want to pursue them. And then when we get 15 years into our marriage, we sort of get stuck. What do you think a person who has a marriage that feels like a honeymoon stage 15 or 20 years later is doing on a frequent basis? I've learned the hard way that I have to date my wife. And I don't just mean I have to take her to a restaurant on a Friday and talk about the fucking chicken that we're eating or the kids' schedules. I mean, I have to actually connect and tell her about things going on in my life. And more importantly, ask her about hers and show that I care. A question I learned to ask myself 3 or 4 years ago: what would I do? How would I show up? What are some little things that I might change? How would I listen? Huge. How would I listen? Here it is. If I was still trying to get this woman to sleep with me and to date me and to marry me and to want to be around me, to go home with me, what would I do? How would I show up? Would I just get flowers on Valentine's Day, like the morning of? Or get like a cheap birthday card and kind of put some random stuff together for a significant moment like a birthday? Or would I bring flowers home on a random Wednesday just because? Would I leave a note on a Tuesday morning before I leave for the office and let her find it at some point during the day? Would I send just proactive random text messages letting her know how much I love her, I miss her, I care about her, how important she is, how good she looked yesterday in a random set of sweatpants? Like, these are the little things that we stop doing in our relationships I'm just describing right now. Little things that we stop doing in our day-to-day routines. We stop moving around so much. Movement is built into our lives at younger ages. We play sports, we're more active, then we have long commutes and we sit at desks. And yeah, we get to the gym for, 30 minutes, 3 days a week or 4 days a week. Maybe it's 45 minutes, or maybe you even prioritize a good 60-minute workout and you're crushing yourself for 3 to 4 days a week. But then you sit around all day and you don't manage the calories that are going in your mouth. Do you even know? We talked about this, unconscious incompetence recently. Do you even know what you're doing? Do you even know what it takes in order to develop an elite body composition? I would argue that most people don't. And it's not like you just learn it. You learn it over time. You learn it from a great coach. Shit, you can learn it from ChatGPT. Now, good luck applying it with with a computer telling you what to do. Good luck navigating around certain things without having a person with a soul who has sat in the environments that you're currently trying to sit in. I think that's a whole lot tougher. But it's like, I'm not teaching anybody information that's not available on the interwebs, guys. No coach, no program, no life coach, no therapist, nobody has made anything up that's new in the last 100 years or so. And so it just comes down to are you willing to pay attention to the data? Are you willing to do what is required with it? Because the default is usually to ignore it. The default is to say it's too hard. It was too hard for me to wake up every morning and open up my app and have this ring tell me that I sucked. So I just ignored it. Guess what didn't get better over a 1.5 year period? The thing that I was ignoring, my sleep. So I have people all the time ask me about, I talk about my food tracking streak and all this stuff. It sounds painful, Recording your food on an app sounds painful. I don't know, bro. I think walking around with your gut hanging over your belt and not being able to see your you-know-what when you piss is painful. I think being winded when you walk up the stairs or chase your kids around is painful. I think getting up out of your chair at the office and having your back and your knees hurt for your first 10 steps is painful. I guess it's choose your painful. I don't know. I take 30 seconds every time that I put food in my mouth and I put it into an app so that I can have the data and I can analyze it. More importantly, I can have other people who may have eyes on me, coaches in my life, give me perspective. Things I'm not seeing. Something that we do every single week. We give clients very specific feedback. Hey, I see you doing this at breakfast 5 out of the 7 days a week. It's not like the worst thing in the world. It's actually not a bad idea. But if we're going to do it every single day or most days, it could be optimized. We could make some changes here. And the changes are likely ones that you don't even really notice after you do it 1 or 2 times. And then that compounds. It's like you get in this rhythm of doing the same thing, but it's like you're not doing the most efficient thing. Like maybe you're ordering a meal at lunch that has 2 or 3 or 400 extra calories. And if we just swapped a couple of things, you would start to see some real results. So it's understanding too, like, you know, going back to the measuring of the food. Like, do you have any idea, like, how much human beings underreport and undertrack? Think of, like, you know, butter, mayonnaise, peanut butter, olive oil, like all of these things that we consume that are not unhealthy per se. Some of them, at least. Some would be viewed as very healthy. Just rack up calories in our life without understanding. We don't know. And then we're like left with like, I don't understand why I'm doing the same thing and I can't get the same result. The reality is, yes, some of this stuff changes as we get older, but not really. Like, not until we're much older. If you're in your 30s, 40s, or 50s, you can't blame age for really anything, honestly. From a scientific standpoint, it just doesn't support it. It doesn't support it. It's way more likely that your behavior over time has changed, but it feels normal because it's only changed a little bit at a time. Not many people gained 30 pounds in 1 year. We gain 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5. It happens in slow increments. It happens in these, 2 or 3 or 400 calories that kind of slip into your life on a daily basis that you have no idea are slipping in. Those moments where you could be pacing around where you're not and you're seated. And so you do go work out hard at the gym. So you associate your effort with the 45 minutes that you spend in the gym 3 to 4 days a week, but then you're seated too much at work. You have a long commute. You don't move around during your kids' sports. You sit in a lawn chair, sit on the bleachers, complain about how busy you are, how busy the weekend is. Please, I beg you, as we get into the spring and sports start to move back outside for a lot of people who have been inside for most of the winter. It's harder. I understand. My kids play winter sports. It's a little bit easier during the nicer weather, the spring, the summer, the fall. So you should be out there. You should be moving around. Many parents I see sitting, picking up my phone right now for those of you on audio, and they're just sitting in a lawn chair. They're either looking at the game or practice, or they're in the bleachers with their phone 6 inches away from their face, or they're sitting in their car. Get out, move. Like, these are the hidden highlights, the hidden things that nobody really sees in a very successful person's life. They don't see the little conversations that they have with people. They don't see the little things that they do. I mean, yeah, I do show you aspects of my life, but if I showed you every little thing I did, it would be like, first of all, it would be boring as hell because most of this stuff is not exciting. Me putting my phone on airplane mode at 7:45 p.m. so that I don't touch it To be fair, I don't do this every night. But 7:45 or 8 p.m. so I don't touch it in between 8 and 8:30 when I want to go to bed and allow myself to shut down is not something that's very exciting. It's not going to get a lot of likes on a social media post. No one's really going to care. How do I package that into something? I'm also not the type of person who sets up a camera and then shows themselves waking up at 4 in the morning or 5 in the morning. Again, you don't have to wake up at 4 or 5 in the morning in order to be really successful. But a lot of people who do are. A lot of people who prioritize structured routines in their mornings and evenings and weekends are incredibly successful in both areas of their life, inside the office and out. By the way, people who set up the camera and take videos of themselves and their routines and show themselves waking up, you guys got to go to therapy. I mean, what are we doing? Like you pretended that you were asleep and you set up a camera and then you showed yourself getting out of bed, like with your hair done and your makeup on, or your gym fit clothes on so you look good. Like, most people look like trash when they get out of bed. Come on now. Go to therapy. Deal with your issues. Maybe you see somebody who backs into parking spots there too. Tell them I said hello. So, but there's all these little moments that are not sexy to show. So why would you show them? Because I do need people to actually want to pay attention to my stuff. So if I showed them all the boring parts, maybe if I showed you me pacing on 5 client phone calls, in my backyard on the walkway, just going like this, back and forth, talking to clients, listening, connecting, hopefully adding value, giving them my perspective, coaching them up, walking over to my computer screen real quick because there was something I couldn't check on my phone while I was talking to them. So that's something that you could do. Maybe pace around your office, pace around the floor. But if you have to get back to your computer, get back there. I've talked about all the time how I used to send my runs out on Bloomberg. Those of you who know, send my runs out. And then I would pace around the floor, still being able to communicate to the sales force. I was a trader, so communicate to the sales force. I'm within earshot because vocal communication, physical presence is very important oftentimes. Not always physical presence. You can use a hoot and stuff like that, like these speaker intercom systems that we have. But being able to communicate quickly was important. So I needed to be within earshot, but I didn't need to be sitting down. So I would pace up and down the row. I would loop around. I would walk over to the distressed guys, to the investment grade guys, to the equity guys. Here comes Panuzzo again. What the hell are you doing over here? Just getting my steps in, bro. You know me. Make fun of yourself before they make fun of you. So there's all these little things that we do in the hidden reels that don't make the highlight reels. Well, that's not very exciting. What am I? You gonna comment on my post about me pacing around on client calls? What? You really want me to show you that? I could. But these are the moments that compound, that produce a good amount of the results. I don't show you every time I put food of mine on a food scale and make sure that what I'm consuming is what I think I'm consuming. It's pretty boring too, but it takes what it takes. And yeah, is it painful? I don't know. I don't think it's painful anymore. I've been doing it for almost 1,000 straight days. Pretty sure that pain starts to subside if you actually just do it for a little while, right? Just like when we go to the gym and we get sore because we haven't been there for a while, you don't get that sore every single time after that. You accept it as a cost of doing business, especially in the beginning, but you sort of get through that friction. Some of you are not willing to get through the friction of trying something new. And I can say with 100% certainty, there's a lot of ways to get this done. There's one-ish really, really effective way, the way that we deploy inside our program. But I can say with 100% certainty that if you don't have the results that you want in any area of your life, your marriage, your relationships outside of your marriage, your physical body, maybe how stressed you feel, how chaotic the world feels around you, I can say with 100% certainty that you're not doing something right. You're definitely not optimized in every area. You could use a set of eyeballs and an audit and some accountability. Say that with 100% certainty because you don't have what you want. If you had what you wanted, what you're doing would be working by definition. By definition. So although I don't know what you're doing and I can't opine on it until I was able to take a deeper dive, I would just say a simple litmus test is, do you like the results? For most people, it's no. If you do, amazing. Congrats. If you don't, I would begin to audit the hidden moments, because we focus too much on the highlight reels. And in reality, all the progress we make in our lives is during those hidden reels. If you enjoyed this one, share it with somebody. Share it with the guy who you thought it was for when I started talking, but also make sure you reflect on it yourself. And what are some things that you could do inside of your routines in your life in order to have more of these hidden reels compound for you over time so that you actually get the results that you want? The data is important. Don't run away from it. Don't bury your head in the sand. We constantly want to ignore the things that we don't want in our life. We want to ignore it because if it goes away, it's less present and it's less in front of our face. Get these things in front of your face. It's just information. With the information, you can make a next logical decision. If you don't know what the logical decision is, if you don't know what the next step is, if you've thought you've known, as I've talked about before, if you think you know, but you don't have the results you want, you don't know, and it's okay. So go get help. Go research it yourself and then DIY it. But the first thing I would do is admit that I don't really know what I'm doing. And I've done that in so many areas of my life, with my business, with my relationships, with my training. I have somebody who programs my workouts for me because I'm smart. I know what I'm doing. I program for my clients, but for the specific result that I want right now, there's somebody that's way smarter than me. So I'm paying them money. And I've done this in many other areas of my life. You don't have to pay, but when you pay attention. So share it with someone. Make sure you're listening for yourself. If you have any questions, you can reach us at brian@successlift.com, or you can text me 917-709-4283. See you back here next week.